Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me. You're all looking very well, I must say. Okay, so I'm going to look at one of the beers from the Bohemia stable. Those beers that are now made by Heineken Mexico. For a bit of background, here in Monterrey we don't call it Heineken Mexico. We call the place Cerveceria. And everybody in Monterrey will always know the brewery simply as Cerveceria. To give the place its full name, it's actually, in pre-Heineken terms, Cerveceria Cuauhtémoc Moctezuma. That's what it used to be known as before the Dutch arrived. Cerveceria's been around for quite some time now. It began in the 1890s, more or less, and its first beer was Carta Blanca, which is still around today. It's still quite a nice glugging beer. It's a nice beer, and I quite enjoy it. Either in the little caguamitas, a tiny size bottle, or a caguamon, the 1.5 litre size, I think it is. But as I say, I'm going to look at Bohemia, and Bohemia has been around since 1905. So it's quite an old brand, really. In actual fact, I've known Bohemia for much longer than I realise. I first tried it, not here in Mexico, but in Leicester, as there used to be an off licence up in Knighton in Leicester, which was run by the father of one of my school friends, and he used to sell Bohemia. And for me, it was a kind of exotic drink. I mean, getting Mexican beer in Leicester back in the 1980s, that was something rather different. So I think it's one of those beers I had this memory of that I kind of attached myself to here when I came to Monterrey, and I've always loved Bohemia. Such a gorgeous beer. The classic has this kind of a perfumed quality to it. It's a lovely Pilsner. It's a very classic beer. And I think many of the beers of Monterrey and Mexico in general do have a Germanic influence. And when you look at the building, Cerveceria, it does look like a Bavarian beer house. So yeah, the name Bohemia kind of fits in with this whole Germanic idea of brewing here. I don't know why it is, but I really haven't seen that much Bohemia around, either in the Oxos or 7-Elevens. Even my local deposito used to sell the Bohemia Classica, which is the one that I love. Now you just see, I think it's just the Christmas one. And I don't know why it seems so difficult to get Bohemia in shops these days. If you want it, you have to go to a supermarket. I don't know why. Why would OXO not sell Bohemia? I mean, OXO is part of the FEMSA group, which is the big shareholder in Heineken Mexico. But why can't you get Bohemia? This is one of those dilemmas of life. So I was rather pleasantly surprised this afternoon when I went into my local deposito to get some Tecate, and I noticed on the shelf Bohemia. Even though it was the Weizen, the wheat beer, made with trigo, wheat, but still not the Classico. When is that going to return to both my local deposito as well as the OXO and the 7-Eleven? Here's hope. So I haven't been able to find the classic Bohemia. I don't know why, but most of the stores, well, certainly the Depositos, 7-Eleven and Oxos, only seem to be stocking the Noche Buena, which is the Christmas beer. A lovely bock beer. It is gorgeous. Quite a strong one, maybe 6.5 to 7% alcohol. And they're only stocking that one. There was a time when you would only find Bohemia in the stores in December. Obviously, it's a Christmas beer, and it was there in the time leading up to Christmas. Now, though, you seem to find Bohemia Noche Buena available in October. Why? Why is a Christmas beer available in October? I mean, it makes no sense. It's rather like in Britain finding Cadbury's cream eggs, which are an Easter treat, available in January. I always remember having a very appreciative student who I would teach on Saturday mornings over in Santiago, that lovely magical town just 40 kilometers to the south. Is it to the south? Yeah, to the south of Monterrey. Martin worked at the distribution center in Santiago that was part of Cerveceria. And whenever I would leave, he would always give me a case, well, every other week, he would give me a case of the classic Bohemia, as well as certain other beers as well. So I would tend to leave quite happy from Martin's classes, not just because I had very nice morning tacos from the stand just outside the place, or that I really did enjoy teaching Martin, but I think it could have been the beer. I wonder why I missed Martin's classes. Anyway, let's get around to trying this Bohemia, shall we? I've just realised I haven't shaved today. What a scruff I must be. Well, it is Saturday after all. And I don't work on a Saturday, so what the hell? Let's open the beer and let's get started, shall we? So, I've just poured the beer in a rather terrible way. I would probably be sacked as a barman, I guess. Let's let that settle for a moment. But anyway, here we are. Here's the bottle. I always like this label on a Bohemia, this kind of diagonally placed label. It's varied over years. From, I think the one I always remember it from that off license in Leicester is that it just used to be plain black with like a yellow outer and a yellow logo of the Emperor Cuauhtemoc. I'm not sure if he was after the Emperor Montezuma, actually. I must read up about that. But anyway, here we are. It's a Weizen, German style, Cerveza de Trigo, so a wheat beer. Strength-wise, it's about 5.7%, so quite a nice strength of beer. Let's top up the glass. It really does have a nice golden colour to the beer. It's very attractive, nice head, and the head is very firm. Oh, there is a lovely aroma. It's not like a Belgian wheat beer where you get the aromas of orange peel and coriander seeds. I don't really notice much from the aroma from this. I do remember when I first tried this beer, it had much more of an aroma. More like, as I said, the aromas of orange peel. It seems different. I don't know why. It has to me, what I would call a soapy aroma. There's no note of any kind of hops, which you would generally get on a good Weizen beer, good German Weizen or Hefeweizen. You would get this lovely floral note. From what I remember, I haven't had a good Hefeweizen for a little while. I must get one from Soriana. But yeah, I like German wheat beers, and I love Belgian wheat beers. In fact, there is an American wheat beer called Blue Moon, very popular kind that you find in supermarkets. And that has a nice aroma too, but this one, I don't really get any distinct aroma from it. That's not, the flavour as well. It's not as good as I really remember. Mind you, it's maybe a year or two, maybe a couple of years, to be honest, since I had Bohemia Weizen. There's a mild fruitiness to the flavour. It's quite a soft beer. Has a nice softness in its character. It is quite pleasant. I mean, it's different to your average Mexican beer, especially the mass-produced Big Two from Heineken and Modelo. Oh yeah, yeah. Now I get more of the flavour. Yeah. Usually it takes like 2 glugs of a beer before the flavour kind of develops. When you get the first flavour, you go, or the first glug, you go, yeah. But once your mouth starts to get coated in the beer, yeah, I get this dryness in the roof of the mouth, which is actually very pleasant. And I'm getting more of the flavour of the beer. Never judge a beer on first looks. Always go for the second taste. One thing you do notice with this beer, compared to, say, Tecate or others, is that you get this lacework on the glass. And it stays. I mean, even the head, although it's not that great, it stays with it. Whereas if you occasionally or generally have Tecate, Carta Blanca, and others of that ilk, the head just disappears because people just used to drinking it straight from the bottle. And anybody drinking this from the bottle is an absolute heathen. But yeah, you do get more, as temperature and time progresses. You do get far more from it. It is rather pleasant, yeah. I do like that. Maybe they have changed a little of the recipe to a degree. I don't know what they've maybe done to it. But it's slightly different to what I do remember. There is a lovely flavour in the mouth. But I don't or can't discern any of the fruit, the general note you get with a wheat beer, like the German Hefeweizen or Belgian Wit beer. Oh, pardon me, there's the burp. Wonderful. Oh, yeah. As I have said in previous videos, wait for the burp, and then you get more flavor. And yeah. Yeah, there's a different taste that comes up from the burp. This is the burp channel, it seems. But yeah, you do get a nice hoppiness. A little hoppiness comes up on that burp. That is a great beer to go with seafood. Yeah. Maybe, as I've said with other beers, it could go with some tacos de gobernador, those lovely tacos filled with prawns or shrimp, as Americans call them, spices, chili, and nice cheese coating. They are absolutely gorgeous tacos. We're coming up to Christmas, so maybe you could have this with the favorite Mexican dish, especially down in the south in Mexico City, bacalao. Maybe with bacalao vizcaína, it would go well. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a good one for turkey. Probably. Because you need something nice to go with turkey. Probably, I wonder if you could use a little bit of this beer and a kind of turkey gravy. Oh, that would go rather interestingly. But, yeah. Oh yeah, I do now get a slight orange kind of vibe. Yeah. So I am now getting a little more of the typical wheat beer vibe, but no coriander seed. Pure a little or a hint, I would say, of orange. But it's very pleasant. I do like this. There's a haziness to it. I think probably from a combination of the wheat. I don't think it's 100% trigo. I think it's maybe a 50-50. Maybe barley more so than wheat. Probably down to cost. And the hazelness probably is from the wheat mixed with the yeast as well. But all in all, I do like that. That beer has left me with a very pleasant aftertaste. Drinking a beer is not just about one dimension. There are many other factors that come in. You shouldn't just think of a beer as something alcoholic in many ways. You should always look at beer in the many ways that people look at wine. And yes, that's good. I wouldn't say it's as good as some of the other wheat beers that I've had recently from other brewers, but it's okay. In terms of a score, it's kind of difficult. I think that's a 7 when I'm comparing it to others, I think I would have given it much more if it had more of a typical Weizen character. If it did go to the typical character with the orange peel, coriander factor, I would have placed it a little bit higher. But I think I would give this a 7. It's nice, but it could be maybe a little better. Dear Heineken, please sort this out. Make it more like a European beer after all. You are from Holland, after all. So thank you all very much for watching and enjoying my beer enjoyment. Please like and subscribe from those buttons below. If you don't like the video, then don't click on dislike. I don't know why there is a dislike button if you're just going to pass by. Anyway, thanks very much. See you soon. Enjoy a beer.